Assalamualaikum everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to give you more information about consonants. In my previous video, I have talked about consonants on the basis of different, working of your articulators. So today, I'm going to discuss consonants on the basis of manner of articulation and voicing. Manner of articulation refers to know how the airflow is constructed, and voicing refers to what are the vocal folds doing. So if I talk about manner of articulation, we will see when the airflow is constricted in your vocal tract, how different speech sounds are produced. And in voicing, we will see that how vocal folds are, either they are vibrating or not. In voicing, what happens that how you can know that the sound is voice sound or voiceless sound, you will put your finger on the Adam's apple and you will produce sound, and you will see whether your vocal folds are vibrating or not. If they are vibrating, then, and if there is vibration, you will say that the sound is voiced, and if it does not produce vibration, you will say that it is voiceless sound. Let's move towards consonants on the basis of manner of articulation. So basically, first of all, we have plosives or stops. What happens that when you produce plosives or stops, the air builds up pressure behind the articulators. The air stops behind the articulators and then releases with a burst. That's why it's called plosive. So the famous example, or the very common example of plosives are p, b, t, d, k, and g. So what is happening that when I'm uttering these sounds, the air is stopping behind my articulators when I'm saying p. So what happens that when I join my lips, the air is closed behind the articulator, behind my lips, and then with the burst, the sound is released. Next is nasals. So what happens that when you utter a sound and the soft palate in your vocal tract is lowered, air stops in oral cavity, and the sound is produced through the nasal cavity. So the famous and the common example about nasal sounds are m, m, and ng. So what is happening that when I'm producing the sounds, the soft palate is lowered, air is stopped in oral cavity, and sounds are produced through my nasal cavity. Next is fricative. What are fricative? Fricatives are the sounds which do not have complete stop while uttering them, and they are produced via slight friction. So air has to be forced through a narrow channel. For example, f, v, th, v, s, z, sh, y, and h. What is happening that the sounds are produced with the slight friction. There is no complete stop. Next is affricates. Affricate is basically a combination of stops and fricative. What happens there? The air stops for a while, and there is a sort of obstruction in release. So the sound begins with the stop and ends in fricative. For example, ch and j. What is happening that there is a brief stopping of air. When I say ch, so the ch sound is produced with a slight of stop, and you will experience friction while uttering the sound. Next is approximants. Why these are called approximant? Because when the articulators produce these sounds, they come close together, but they do not come properly in contact with each other. And when they come close but do not come close enough, so they cause a sort of air turbulence. For example, w and y and r. What is happening that articulators are coming close, but there is no stoppage of air, and there is no there is no friction that is produced in fricatives. So w, y, and r. Next are lateral approximants. Lateral approximants are those sounds in which, when you produce them, your tongue blocks the middle of your mouth. And when the air blocks from the middle of your mouth, the air slides or air passes through the sides of your mouth. When you utter the sound l, there and r, sorry, I have included r in approximants. R is lateral approximant. So what is happening that the air is produced from the sides of your mouth. So these are sometimes called liquids. Next is voicing. As I have told you earlier, that when you speak, when you utter the sound and they produce vibration in your vocal folds, they will be called voice sound. And when they will not produce vibration in your vocal folds, they will be called voiceless sounds. For example, I have made the chart of these sounds. When I say p, first I have to keep my fingers on my Adam's apple. It is very, you can easily figure out that that organ of speech in males easily, because it's sort of bumped out in males. You have to put your fingers and you will say the sound p. What will happen that you will not experience any vibration. When you will say b, you will experience vibration. Similar is the case for t, k, f, th, s, sh, and ch. So there is no vibration in these sounds. But when I produce b, d, g, w, d, z, y, and j sound, there will be vibration in my vocal folds. And there are some sound, for example, her sound, it is voiceless, because when you produce, it is kind of semi-vowel. When you produce the sound her, you will face no obstruction of air in your mouth, and it's just sorry, I think I'm wrong with saying it semi-vowel. I will confirm it, and I will mention it in my comment box that if it's semi-vowel or not. So when her is produced, what happens that you will not feel any sort of vibration. And then we have w, y, m, n, ng, r, and l. These all are voice sounds. So that's all from today's lecture. If you have any question regarding to the lecture, you can mention in the comments box, and don't forget to subscribe my channel. Thank you.